Well, the Ukrainian president has visited Washington to appeal for help fighting Russia, winning warm words of support and weapons from Joe Biden. But confronting U.S. skeptics, Volodymyr Zelensky confronted skeptical Republicans who want to cut off aid. Despite the U.S. and its allies' continued ambitious efforts to bolster the Ukrainian efforts in the war, there are no signs of an endgame in this war between Russia and Ukraine. The conflict seems destined to enter an even more complicated phase in the months ahead. Biden announced a new package of U.S. military aid, including sophisticated air defense weapons. He said that the first M1 Abrams tank will arrive in Ukraine next week, boosting Kyiv's forces as they battle Russian troops in a slow-moving counter-offensive.
And together with our partners and allies, the American people are determined to see to it that we do all we can to ensure the world stands with you, and that is our overwhelming objective right now.
And the Ukrainian leader arrived after another wave of Russian strikes hitting cities across the country and killing at least 3 people in Kherson and wounding many in other areas. Wearing his trademark olive green military-style shirt, Zelensky said Ukraine has exactly what our soldiers need.
Our regular dialogue is proof that our countries are really, truly allies and strategic friends, and we greatly appreciate the vital assistance provided by the United States to Ukraine to combat Russian terror.
But behind the visuals, firm handshakes across the Grand Cabinet table and shows of solidarity in the Oval Office lay the fact that Zelensky's second wartime trip to the U.S. was far tougher than his first. This time, he spent his closed-door meetings in the U.S. Congress desperately trying to overcome growing war fatigue from Republicans. Hardline Republicans are threatening to block Democrats and Biden's request for a fresh $24 billion aid package for Ukraine. It has now become caught up in a bitter spending battle that could spark a U.S. government shutdown. The U.S. president said there were no alternatives to backing the Ukraine funding, adding that he was counting on the judgment of the Congress. As part of his bid to win over Washington, Zelensky went to the Pentagon, where he laid a wreath at the memorial for victims of September 11, 2001 attacks. But in a blow to him, Biden rejected a request for longer-range ATACMS missiles that can strike up to 300 kilometers away. And for more on this, my colleague Susan Tehrani sent us this report from New York. Listen in.
At the White House, the Ukrainian president made a presentation to Biden cabinet members, sharing his perspective of the battlefield and saying what he needs exactly right now at this moment. While the Biden administration did approve a new package for Ukraine, the money for this package has already been authorized by Congress. It is not new money. Also, when Volodymyr Zelensky was here in New York, he was introduced to America's former Commerce Secretary, Penny Pritzker. She will now be in charge of top diplomatic efforts for reconstruction and rebuilding efforts in Ukraine. But Biden officials say first things first. They believe that Ukraine right now at this point to sustain the war needs an additional $24 billion. And that is just from October until the end of the year. What happens after that? According to Biden officials, they're already in talks with Congress.